Hello and welcome to One Cool Thing, PCMag's show where we show you one cool thing which we are testing out here in the PCMag labs. But today's one cool thing is a whole show. It's Mobile World Congress. Mobile World Congress is the world's biggest mobile phone trade show. All the phone companies are there. All the phone operators are there. It is 100,000+ people in Barcelona every year. And I'm here with Wong from Mashable to talk about what the big themes are and what the cool phones are going to be at Mobile World Congress. Ray, what do you think is going to be the big theme at MWC this year?
Definitely foldable phones and 5G. So there are going to be multiple companies announcing this kind of untested product category, phones that open up and fold into tablets.
Okay, so at CES, we saw the first supposed foldable phone. It was from a company called Royal. It was kind of a mess.
It was terrible.
It was terrible. Are the foldable phones we see at MWC going to be any closer to something that we would actually want to buy?
So far, from what I've seen, teasers, tweets online, I don't think so. I think it's the first wave, so it's unproven. It's not ready. Most of them are prototypes. They're not. The software isn't there. I think there's one Chinese phone that had a phone that folded twice, one on each side.
That was Xiaomi, right?
Xiaomi,
I think, yeah, Xiaomi had it kind of a triptych.
Yeah, somebody complained online about how terrible the animations were. It's like there are 6 animations or more going on at the same time just to get the software to morph into the phone mode from tablet mode. So I think the challenges are going to be kind of how they deal with that crease, whether it folds in and whether it folds out, and the software, and if consumers will actually care about it.
Okay, so beyond the foldable phones, you said, and I also agree, 5G.
Yep.
Now, there aren't really any 5G networks up yet, so how real are these 5G announcements going to be? We've been hearing a lot of vague, I remember in December, Samsung and various carriers were all like, we're going to have a Samsung phone at some point in the future, which is not exactly rocket science.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's we're still on the pathway to 5G. It's still going to be a couple of years before it actually rolls out and most people will actually get to experience it. Cities have to set up their infrastructure. And I don't think 5G will be ready. Everyone's going to be touting and maybe announcing new phones with a 5G capable device, but I don't think that many people will be running out to buy one.
Okay. So let's go through some of the phones which we have here in our MWC preview. As you can see, when I scroll down pretty quickly, we have a lot of different manufacturers planning to announce things. Let's start by flipping over to this Evan Blast tweet, because this is like some crazy fly spider eye thing going on here,
click on
right?
that so we can see the camera module? Oh yeah,
there we go. What is going on here?
Okay, so we have a multiple camera array happening here. It looks like 5 cameras, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then an LED flash and probably some kind of a light sensor or something else happening over there. And this is kind of the first time we've seen well, not the first time. We have seen, and there are phones with dual and triple cameras.
Right.
And that accommodates for a regular camera, a telephoto camera, and an ultra-wide camera. And this looks like it takes things to the next level, hopefully with more focal lengths. Basically, you'll be able to shoot at different apertures and different varying focal lengths in order to get different desired effects, kind of simulating what you'd get from a zoom lens on a DSLR.
And so now this is probably going to be called the Nokia 9 Pureview.
Right.
Pureview is a storied Nokia brand that goes back several years.
Right.
And now, do you think this is going to come out in the US?
You know what? I don't think so. Nokia historically has been a big brand in the past, at least pre-iPhone era. It was big in Europe, big in Asia, not so much in the US and North America. In North America, they recently announced 2 new phones, one for, I believe, Verizon and one for Cricket. Those are kind of like budget phones.
Low-end phones.
Right. So, this Nokia phone, as great as it will be, or sounds like it's shaping up to be, I don't think it'll be released in the US just because Nokia is still not quite a big brand in the US, never was, and I don't know if they can build that back in the US. It looks like, flagship features. It says Android 1 on the back here. It looks
Under-display fingerprint sensor.
In-screen fingerprint sensor, and, I mean, I hope that they can sell it here, but if you want it, you'll probably have to import it.
Now, I think that the best-selling U.S. phone that's going to be announced at Mobile World Congress. Now, one thing I think we should call out is that the Samsung Galaxy S10 is not going to be announced at MWC. It
won't be announced there, but it'll be announced like 2 or 3 days before at their own Unpacked event. So, it will have kind of this kind of overhanging presence at MWC. And, of course, I believe it will be at the show at their booth.
Yeah, there's going to be a booth. I'm sure there's going to be a booth full of Galaxy S10s for us to compare all the other phones to. But we are going to hear about that on Wednesday, February 20th.
Right.
So I think the best-selling U.S. phone that's going to be announced at the show is going to be this LG G8.
It's the phone that nobody will really care about, unfortunately. LG's kind of clout in the mobile space has fallen dramatically over the last couple of years, and I think maybe the last great phone was the G4, and G5 was that weird modular phone that never took off with the little accessories.
With the extra battery. But it really hurts because my wife has been using the G6 and the G7, and she loves it for that wide-angle camera.
And it's a good camera.
Yeah, it's a good camera, and especially if you look at the year-old LG phones here in the US, like you can get G6s now for like $300, and at that price, it's just kind of an incredible value.
Right.
So. Yeah, I feel like nobody's going to care about the LG G8, but they kind of should. It's good.
I mean, LG shows up at MWC every year, and they have a great phone. The G7 was a fantastic phone. It's just it's a little too late. And when you have guys like Samsung who are going to introduce phones with hole punch display and in-screen fingerprint sensors and all this futuristic tech,
old school fingerprint sensor.
Here is LG coming to the show with like last year's kind of features, and it's just like great, but not good enough.
Would be great if it was $500. So I'm going to flip over here to another phone that I think a lot of people are going to be talking about at the show, which is the Huawei P30. Now, this phone is effectively illegal in the United States. If you try to buy one, you will probably be arrested by the FBI.
If I bought one from Amazon, I will be arrested?
I don't know about that. I worry. I worry. But what I'm talking about, in case people watching aren't familiar, is that Huawei is highly suspected by various people in the US government of having some sort of connection with the Chinese military. And so as a result, it's been very, very hard for them to get onto US store and US carrier shelves, even though they are the second biggest mobile phone manufacturer in the world right now. So the P30. Do you know anything about it?
I don't know much about the P30, but the P20 Pro was a very fantastic phone. It was one of the first, I think, maybe even the first one with triple cameras. And had an amazing kind of night mode shooting functionality, which let you shoot in the dark. This is kind of before the Pixel 3's night sight mode. So I'm expecting, something similar, improvements to the cameras. It looks like the notch is significantly smaller.
I really like how we're going to the little teardrop or keyhole notches now. I think, and this is another area where LG is really losing out. I think these smaller notches are the way to go. And once we get to the hole punch notch with the S10, I actually wonder how many hole punch notches we're going to see at Mobile World Congress.
I think we're going to see quite a bit, but the only kind of disadvantage of kind of having this kind of smaller notch is, it doesn't allow for room for a lot of these sensors that are inside, say, an iPhone's true depth camera system. So I question how secure the kind of face recognition is. We've seen this on kind of OnePlus phones. It's not as secure. It's a 2D based kind of face unlock. So if it's not a 3D based, more secure version, I question whether there's actually that's actually good for consumers.
So over here. Hey, it's another company that makes phones.
Oh man,
what
Sony.
Can Sony do to be relevant?
I mean, if this is true, we're gonna get triple cameras. It seems like everybody's going to this triple camera setup. Even
that is definitely a trend for
that's
this
gonna be
year.
A trend for this year. I think even the iPhone, this year's iPhone, is rumored to have 3 cameras. But like Sony has been this like kind of mobile company. They're in worse shape than LG, in fact. And they're kind of like at the bottom of the barrel right now with like HTC down there.
What really strikes me about this design is that this design just feels so Galaxy Note 9. Like the lines of it and the rounded corners.
Yeah, I mean, they've been kind of inching towards this Samsung-like design, I think, with their last phone that was announced at IFA last year. And it looks like, from what I've heard, that they're going to have this super elongated screen.
21 by 9.
21 by 9. That's really skinny. That's like remote control skinny, A lot of people were miffed by like the Galaxy S8 being a little too narrow. But this is taking it to a new level. And, I really don't enjoy seeing phones mess around with the aspect ratio too much because, a lot of the software just doesn't adapt well to these displays.
Yeah, I like a narrow phone, but if it's too tall, that just gets awkward to carry around. So talk about some of the other manufacturers that we think are going to launch things in Barcelona. One of the ones I wanted to bring up, coming down here is Vevo.
Okay.
And I'm going to call up an article up here about the Apex 2019, just to get this image up here. Do you think they actually intend to release this?
You know what? Last year, they kind of wowed everybody with the Apex concept. That is for those who don't know what the Apex concept is, it's a phone with the kind of pop-up camera, virtually edge-to-edge display, very, very narrow bezels, and a in-display fingerprint sensor that was larger than kind of just the thumbprint or fingerprint, so a larger screen surface area. And that phone wasn't released yet. It hasn't been released. They've released various versions.
Well, they took some of the ideas.
They took some of the ideas, like the motorized
in the XS.
Right. They took the motorized camera, put it in another phone. It wasn't quite as like futuristic as this concept was. So I think they're going to bring out another concept, this 5G Apex, and it will look sleeker, less boxy. But I don't think they will release it. I think a lot of the tech inside that phone will probably trickle out to an actual consumer release.
Now, one other company I wanted to talk about that I'm looking forward to their stuff at MWC is Qualcomm.
Okay.
Because as we talk about 5G,
Yep.
There is a little known barrier to 5G adoption right now, which is that the modems, the chips that are going into the early 5G phones don't support some of the technologies that some of our carriers need to make 5G happen, specifically T-Mobile.
Okay.
The Qualcomm X50, which is out there right now, does not support the 5G network which T-Mobile wants to build. But I'm anticipating that at this show, we're going to hear about the Qualcomm X55.
Okay.
And that is going to be the first 5G modem that can handle all of the US carriers. And so that will then let all of our carriers start to announce their 5G phones. And then we're really going to start seeing some momentum on 5G. But I don't know, I'm not feeling real 5G announcements from carriers with dates at Mobile World Congress right now. Are you?
I'm not feeling that as well. I really don't expect to see kind of, at least for the US, 5G phones and devices ready until 2020 at the earliest. So I hope that comes true. I hope we get to see that modem, and I hope we get to see some devices.
I'm a little more optimistic than you. I do think we are going to have a significant number of 5G phones in mid to late 2019.
Okay.
But Mobile World Congress is just a little too early to hear about that. So, we're going to have some foldable phones, whether or not they're things you want to buy.
Yeah.
We're going to have a whole lot of triple camera phones that people probably are going to want to buy. Tiny notches.
Tiny notches.
Anything else I'm missing that you're looking forward to in Barcelona?
You know what? There's one phone from Meizu, and that is a portless phone. It's already been announced. It's coming out in April, and this is the first kind of holeless or portless phone as they've announced it. It doesn't have any kind of USB-C port. It doesn't have any kind of physical buttons. It doesn't have. I mean, it has no speaker holes, nothing.
Wow.
So that's this one unibody design, and the technologies inside, I really want to see whether they can pull it off. It uses like wireless charging. It uses some kind of wireless USB transfer. So it's on Indiegogo, which makes me a little worried because that is crowdfunded and it's unproven. But Meizu does have a track record of building interesting, weird phones.
They are an actual phone company.
They are an actual phone company. So I hope to see that at Mobile World Congress.
Okay, great. Well, Mobile World Congress is running in Barcelona. The show floor opens on Monday, February 25th, but we are going to start hearing announcements from Barcelona as early as Friday, February 22nd. We, of course, will both be there in Barcelona, bringing coverage to PCMag and Mashable in our different, equally interesting but very different styles. So make sure to read both. Thank you all for watching. This has been One Cool Thing with PCMag and Mashable talking about Mobile World Congress.